All right, let me spell this out as clearly as possible. No one listens to the liberals anymore. Not Donald Trump, not Mexico, not the European Union, not even Canadian flight attendants. This government has gone from being taken half seriously under Justin Trudeau to being completely dismissed under Mark Carney. And make no mistake, this isn't just a bad news cycle. This is systemic. It's about authority, it's about credibility, and it's about whether Canada even has a functioning government at all anymore. Let's go.
Welcome to Bakes on Things.
And with me now is Ian Lee, Associate Professor at the Sprott School of Business at Carleton University. Ian, welcome. So let's start off with this. Are there going to be any legal implications for the union's decision?
I believe there will be. I do want to caution you, I'm not a labor relations scholar, but I did, when I did my PhD thesis on Canada Post, the final third of my thesis was focused on all of the back-to-work legislation occurred in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. And so I ended up studying the labor relations of federal crown corporations and federally regulated industries very, very deeply and extensively. Renee, this is going to, I believe, be momentous from a legal and a public policy point of view. The Supreme Court ruled in 2015 that workers have the right to strike under the Charter of Rights. This was in response to a Saskatchewan law that tried to strike down the right to strike in the public sector of Saskatchewan. But the Supreme Court also ruled that it did not governments could still designate services as essential, such as national police, RCMP, the military, the border, people in prisons, the workers, the correctional service people. And so what the government has done is ordered the people, the striking flight attendants back to work, but they are correct in stating, the union Cup W is correct in stating it is on the surface illegal because they're not designated essential workers. They do have the right to strike according to the Supreme Court, and there is no apparent emergency. It's unbelievably inconvenient. I'm a good example. I'm stuck in Vancouver trying to get home to Ottawa. But that I'm not sure that the court will rule that extends sufficiently to justify the order. So we may see the court striking down the order by the government of Canada.
Welcome back to Bakes on Things. I'm Chris Baker. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And here's the thing. The story that proves all of what we've just said already, beyond a shadow of a doubt, happened last week. Air Canada's flight attendants announced they were taking strike action. Now, labor strikes aren't uncommon, of course, but workers use them as leverage. Governments try to balance between protecting consumers and ensuring fairness. But our liberal government, they didn't even wait for the strike to happen or for them to exercise any of their rights. They came barging in with a heavy-handed, preemptive back-to-work order before a single picket sign was raised. Sounds a little pandemic-y, doesn't it? This is what liberals always do. They think governing is about announcing, about making grand statements, and about issuing grand decrees. There, we solved it. Everyone back to work now. The only problem? The flight attendants laughed in their faces. They ignored the order. They didn't even pretend to respect this government. They slapped the government in the face and said, your rules don't mean anything to us because they don't mean anything to anyone in the world. Think about that for a second. The federal government of Canada, under Prime Minister Mark Carney, issues an order, and thousands of Canadian workers basically say, F you. That is unprecedented. When your own citizens stop taking you seriously, when your laws are openly defied, that's not just embarrassing. That's a collapse of your authority. You've lost the locker room, Mark. And that collapse isn't isolated. It's everywhere. Look abroad. Donald Trump doesn't take Mark Carney seriously. He has been crystal clear about that. Well, Mexico got a 90-day extension in trade negotiations, while other countries managed to cut deals already with the United States. Canada got slapped with 35% tariffs on softwood lumber. 35%. Again. Carney's response? a weak statement about being laser focused on building Canada strong. We'll be our own customer. Translation: we don't have any leverage anywhere, no plan, and no respect from our trading partners. So what else can we do? Meanwhile, Mexico's president flat out said that she doesn't need a bilateral deal with Canada either. And the EU turned around and exempted the United States from carbon border tariffs, but kept Canada's locked in with a supposed talk deal they did earlier in the spring. These are supposed to be Carney's allies, his peers, his friends, his fellow world leaders. Instead, they are carving us out of deals, shoving us aside, and treating us like a second-rate country. Why? Because they know that the Liberals don't mean what they say and can't deliver what they promise on, or simply just won't. And here at home, Canadians feel the exact same way, and it's spreading across the country. Look at housing. During the campaign, Carney promised action. He promised affordability. He promised a housing plan that would finally help people buy, or moreover, probably just rent. Where is it? Nowhere to be found. In fact, prices are still climbing. People are still locked out of the market, and the Liberals, they have the gall to keep repeating their damn buzzwords again about affordable housing, middle-class families, building homes faster, blah, 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 blah. Even without them, the rental market is improving. But Canadians aren't listening anymore because they've heard all this shit before and nothing ever changes. Look at the cost of living. Groceries still rising. They rose again this week. Gas is expensive. Families are stretched thinner than ever as school is just around the corner. And what has this government done? They froze the carbon tax before the election. Not cut, not scrapped, just paused it after years of raking in billions from it. But here's the question. Where did all the carbon tax money go before they paused it? Has anyone seen the receipts for any of that? Anyone? Anyone seen those receipts? Anyone seen the benefit? No. And that's why Canadians have turned them out. It's all talk, no delivery, no results. Let's be honest. Mark Carney has been prime minister for less than 4 months, and already he's a lame duck. Justin Trudeau at least had a honeymoon period. Stephen Harper, whether you liked him or not, had traction. He got things done. Jean Chrétien commanded respect, even when people disagreed with him. But Carney, he's done nothing but go on vacation. He's on a vacation right now again. He's done nothing but issue statements and get humiliated on the world stage. No prime minister in modern history has gotten so little done so fast, more so than Mark Carney. And that brings us back to the flight attendants. Their defiance wasn't just about labor rights. And kudos to them, by the way. It was a symbolic rejection of a government that doesn't matter anymore to anyone. When workers ignore your orders, when unions brush you off like you don't matter, when businesses roll their eyes at your plans, and when world leaders stop picking up your phone calls, you are no longer governing. You're babysitting a crumbling system while pretending to be in charge. This matters more than people realize, though, by the way, because when a government loses this kind of credibility and the ability to command respect, it loses the ability to govern properly. Every announcement becomes background noise. Every threat becomes completely hollow. The U.S. doesn't even care to listen to us anymore, especially to Dougie. Every promise becomes a joke. And Canada, at a time of serious global tension with inflation, with wars and trade wars raging, is being led by a prime minister no one takes seriously. The implications could be devastating to this country. Internationally, Canada is now seen as expendable or not even needed at all, an afterthought. A country you can roll over in negotiations because we'll just accept that. Domestically, Canadians are realizing their leaders don't have answers, and even then, it's all just talk. And when citizens lose faith in their government, the social contract begins to unravel. People stop following the rules altogether. We're starting to already see that with the flight attendant strike. They stop respecting institutions, and they stop believing in the future of their own country. That's where we are right now. Mark Carney and the Liberals are presiding over the fastest collapse of credibility in Canadian political history. They have bungled every effort they have made since April 28th because they haven't actually made an effort. They've failed on trade, failed on housing, failed on affordability, failed on labor relations, and failed on leadership. So the next time that you hear a Liberal promise, ask yourself finally, why should anyone take this seriously at all? Because the evidence is overwhelming that no one does anymore, especially around the world. Not Donald Trump, not Mexico, not Europe, not Canadian workers, and not Canadian citizens. And until Canada has leadership that commands respect, both at home and abroad, we're stuck in this humiliating down spiral of death. The Liberals don't realize it yet, but the country already has. No one is listening to them anymore, and the proof is in the skies. And that silence says it all. Thanks for watching Bakes on Things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Kudos to our flight attendants with Air Canada. I know it's messing up some of your flights, but really to reject this is to say, hey, I don't want to work for free. I don't want to work before my shift and after my shift for free. I understand that. We should all understand and respect that. I do get the inconvenience of all of it. But guess what? Everybody deserves a fair paycheck in this country. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you tomorrow.